Okay, so now that you have created your graphic organizer, you have learned a little bit about color theory, which relates to how we use color and color combinations. We're going to kind of take this idea of creating color and mixing color into action, and we're going to be using our watercolor set that was provided in your supply box. So you're going to get your watercolor kit out. You need to have a little bit of water and then some paper towels. And what I'm gonna do, just to kind of get everything in my palette ready, I'm gonna just take a drop of water into each of my colors, just to kind of wake them up. We don't want to cross-contaminate, so whenever you use a color, you want to make sure you come back to your water container and clean it off. We're gonna start by mixing our tertiary. So now our first tertiary color is red-orange. So I'm going to mix up some of this red, and I'm going to bring a little dot of red onto my mixing tray here. I want it to be nice and pigmented, so I'm gonna really mix it up until I have about 50-50 of each color. Now I'll come over to my orange, really mix it up, and create a swatch of orange. Okay, now I'll clean my brush off, and I'm actually going to dry it. So I don't want too much water in it, and I'm going to mix those two colors together, which will give me a nice red-orange. And just for fun, we're gonna just swatch it in our sketchbook so we can kind of see what that color looks like. So our first tertiary color is red-orange, okay? We're gonna do the same thing. When you're done with the color, you just clean it off with your paper towel and then start again. So our next tertiary color is going to be yellow-orange, sorry, excuse me. Yellow-orange, so I'm going to mix up my yellow, bring a swatch of the yellow, bring some of the orange. Again, we want it to be 50-50. I'm gonna mix those together till I get a nice yellow-orange, and then I'm gonna swatch my yellow-orange. You can do it into any fun little shape that you want. Okay, clean. Do the same thing. Gonna mix my yellow-green. Get my yellow. Mix my green up. I love these colors, they're so much fun. Yellow-green, now we're gonna get our blue-green. And really it's just 50-50 of a primary and a secondary. So kind of gonna add a little bit more water to my green. Pick up my blue, 50-50. Clean my brush, mix it together. Blue-green's like a nice teal. Just gonna swatch it. Clean. Then we're gonna get our little blue-violet going. Get my blue. Ooh, that's a lot of blue. Purple. Maybe a little bit more purple. Okay, blue violet, I'm a little heavy with the blue, that's totally fine, as long as you are creating that color. Okay, and then we're gonna do our last tertiary color, which is red violet. Okay, I'm gonna mix my violet. Get my red. I'm gonna mix those together. Nice color. Red violet. I'm feeling like my red orange up here is like not as red orange as it could have been. What's nice about watercolors, you can always kind of revisit. Definitely need it to be more like red than orange. Just gonna mix that and lay it over. Yeah, that feels a little bit more red orange to me. I'm gonna let that dry so you all can see the difference. Okay. Now with watercolor, to lighten a color, and I'm just gonna use my base color as an example here. Clean my palette off. I'm gonna use a wet brush. Clean my palette. Okay, let's take purple as my base color. So I'm gonna kind of wake my purple up, and I'm just gonna use it straight from the pan. Now, using it straight from the pan, it's gonna be a little bit more dark. And then if I add water, I'm gonna mix it out here, it's gonna get lighter, right? The more water I add, the lighter my color of purple is going to look. And that's the case with watercolor, okay? But if I was using like acrylic paint, then to lighten a color, what I would do is I would add white, okay? Now, say I wanna darken a watercolor. Our gut reaction is to use black. And that's totally valid, but what black does when you add to a color is it kind of dulls it down. So say I wanted to have this purple, but I want it to be, or a violet, and I wanted it to just be a little bit darker. What I could do is I could look to my color wheel and I can look at what the complement of violet is, which is yellow, and I would add a little bit of yellow. Now, see what happens to your violet here. It gets darker. I'm gonna swatch it next to the hue. See, look at that. It's a dark purple now. A dark, dark purple. If I were to add black, now let's see the difference. So here I pick up some purple, some violet, and now I'm gonna add just a titch of black and you'll see the difference. It kind of makes it just black. I mean, even if I were to add a little bit more purple, it just takes down the tone of the purple here. Okay. Make it so it's not so watery. Add a touch of yellow. The colors are just different. Okay. Now I want you to try with a complement. If we wanted to darken a red, we would add a green, or vice versa. If we wanted to darken a blue, we would add orange, and vice versa. What's really cool is you can also add brown as a color to darken, or gray if we were mixing with acrylic paint. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this brown, see what happens here. It changes it, but we still kind of have like a purpley brown. Okay, definitely want you to try that out just so you can kind of get an idea of what mixing color is like, okay? Once you're done with this, you can go ahead and label it. Tertiary colors. And you can draw a line if you want. Lightening and darkening. Okay. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you create on the next page in your sketchbook. So once this dries, you're going to flip it over and you're going to create your own color scheme using your watercolors, okay? You can do it in any shapes that you like. Say I'm gonna do an analogous color scheme. I could do 3 circles and then mix my colors. Totally up to you, but you're gonna create your own color scheme page with whatever scheme that you'd like to use. Okay, now that you know how to mix colors, you should be able to do it.